So we're gonna spend the next little bit. I want you guys to ask me some deep. Wait, do we have one of these with reverb on it? Some deep streamer questions. What's your biggest concern as a content creator? Now that is deep. Hit me with some questions, nerds. How do you get your hair to get like this? Just wake up like this. If you don't wake up like this, it's never gonna happen. What are some questions you ask yourself when you're out of ideas for content? Honestly, if I'm out of ideas for content, well, first of all, first thing you do is anytime you come up with an idea, you write it down. I can't tell you how many good ideas I've had that I've never made videos on because I've forgotten what they were. First thing you do is you write them down. Second thing you do, go through your comments. That's the biggest place I get ideas, is questions from you guys. So just, take other people's ideas and don't credit them. Best idea. Are you full-time strictly from Twitch? Could you be if you didn't have a YouTube channel? I would even if my YouTube channel died, I would start another YouTube channel. I don't want to stream full-time. Streaming full-time is a very bad idea for streamers in 2019. Streamers who are going full-time are losing viewers and have no other way of gaining viewership because the site's getting so saturated. You need other outlets. Even if I could go full-time on Twitch, I probably could, by the way. I could go full-time on Twitch. I don't want to. It also just gets stale. I need that creative outlet of doing something different rather than just sitting down doing the same thing every day. Most fulfilling experience since being an influencer. Don't call me an influencer, Sam. Most fulfilling thing being a content creator. Most fulfilling thing being a content creator is not even, no questions asked, is going to events and meeting people. It's mind-blowing when you spend all day making videos in your basement or in your bedroom or wherever you make videos, and then you go to events and people are like, oh my gosh, I watch your videos, and you're like, why? I just pointed a camera at myself and filmed and just talked. But it's special to make a connection with someone that you've never met in real life, and then suddenly you can talk about something. It's really cool. Do you have any hobbies that aren't related to content creation? I wish. I used to build a lot of stuff. That was fun. I just have a build projects, but that's the thing. I've made a huge effort to turn what are my strengths? What do I like doing? How can I turn that into content? And so at the end of the day, no, because every one of my hobbies I've turned into content. It's the curse of being a content creator. How'd you get started on Twitch? Very poorly. I used to play Halo on my Xbox, streaming from my Kinect, and it wasn't worth watching. But I got my career on Twitch started by making YouTube content. After streaming on Twitch for 3 years, I was like, you know what, this isn't working. Maybe I try playing to my strengths and actually do something I'm good at. And let's see if I can grow there and then move people over to my Twitch. And what do you know? It worked. What would you suggest for a first YouTube video to make or introduce myself or something? No, absolutely do not do a video introducing yourself for the first video. Unless you want a video with 0 views. You got to understand, the first year of making YouTube content is going to be a learning experience. You're probably not going to grow unless you're just super talented, which clearly I was not because it took me years. But at least your first year is going to be learning how to grow, learning how the algorithm works, learning how creation works, learning how editing works. Dive in head first and try to make something creative. I sometimes limit myself to play only while streaming. Don't you guys tend to do that? So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, because I know people are like, every time I play, I stream. If I'm going to be playing, I might as well be streaming. Don't do that. It makes your stream look frivolous. If you enjoy gaming, don't lose the enjoyment of gaming. Keep gaming outside stream. Make sure that gaming doesn't become work. Make sure gaming continues to be something you enjoy, whether you're streaming or not. Have some of your gaming be work, and then if you find time to game outside and you feel like doing that, I game outside to stream all the time. You look tired today? What a terrible thing to say to a beautiful woman. How do you get motivation to make/edit a video if you just don't have any at the moment? Motivation? Guys, okay, Hashtag deep, real quick. If your work ethic is entirely predicated on your motivation, it's not gonna happen. Your work ethic has to be entirely predicated by your self-discipline. Self-discipline, how to get self-discipline? Self-discipline takes, honestly, it's like a skill you have to practice. It's like a muscle, you gotta train it. The more often you do work when you're not motivated to work, the easier it's going to be to do work when you're not motivated to work. What if I switched games, but the game is so boring, it's basically a just chatting stream? I'm not good at just chatting, so it's hard for me to retain viewership. I like the game I'm playing. It feels like it's destroying my stream. Any suggestions? Yeah, well, one, I'd recommend getting better at just chatting. If you're not good at engaging with your viewership, you're going to have a hard time being a streamer. If you really like this game, this might be a good opportunity for you to get better at interacting and engaging with your viewers, which is a vital part of being a streamer. This is a good one. What's your biggest concern as a content creator? I want to know though, do you want to know my biggest concern from day to day? Or do you want to know my biggest concern as my future as a content creator? The day-to-day concern, every day, every creator feels this. You got to learn to ignore it a little bit, but it's always going to be there because it's a part of the game. Day-to-day, my biggest concern is, am I living up to? Am I maintaining my relevance? I mean, you can't be a creator and not feel that. Every time you have, like, if you go a week with tweets that just fall flat, you're like, are people going to stop caring? You know, you post a couple videos that don't do as well as the previous ones, and you wonder, is my view count going to go back up? When your job is day to day entirely about how much people care, it's very difficult to separate that. There are some other concerns like that I would recommend if you want to get into streaming. One of them being a lot of people have a hard time differentiating their online engagement, their online relevancy with their personal value. And that's something I'd recommend you learn to separate. Your viewership has absolutely nothing to do with how valuable you are as a human being. Intimate relationships with an individual is so much more important than how many people want to sit and watch you. So make sure you separate those. I know a lot of people with anxiety and depression struggle with that differentiation. My long-term concern with being a content creator is always going to be is with cancel culture like blowing up and people on the internet, everything they're saying being scrutinized so much, is what happens if suddenly the public opinion shifts to a value that I don't hold? What happens if it gets to a point where the loudest portion of the internet, the most extreme portion of the internet, believes something that I don't believe in? Like, for example, what happens if in 5 years, being a religious person, I'm a religious person myself, being a religious person is not only just disagreed with, but like, if you're a religious person, we want to cancel you. And what do? Do I pretend I'm not who I am, or do I get entirely canceled for disagreeing with the vocal majority? Keep what you believe, and of course I believe that, but not. What if it's my career? You know, what if it's my career? What if being who I am ends my career? That's my long-term concern. That's a concern everyone should have. Now that is deep. How do you and your girlfriend work things out, like spend time with one another? Do you have many disagreements about you streaming? What a question. My wife, we've been married 6 years. You ready for this? 5 years ago, she told me she didn't want video games in our home. She said she grew up in a house of girls, one boy, and did not want video games in our home. It's because she didn't understand it. And it was important that I didn't just like fight against her and turn it into this point of contention, because that's the biggest thing. You can't turn it into a point of contention. So instead, I worked on my schedule. I worked on my work schedule, worked on my stream schedule. I made sure she always knew she was a priority, that my family was a priority above everything, but that this was something I wanted and I wanted to give it a shot. And of course, it's got to go both ways. She had to set aside her personal feelings and say, I'll give you a chance and I love you and I want to support you for what you want to do. And so I made an effort to make her a priority. She made an effort to make me a priority, and then it worked out. And so now we make sure, like, for example, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings. And so she knows that sometimes if it's going really well, it can go late and she might have to go to bed alone. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, when I don't stream, I have a bedtime. That's the biggest one. That's the biggest one. One date night a week, and a bedtime. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I need to be in bed at a certain time so she gets to fall asleep next to me. She's not falling asleep alone. You just figure out your priorities. That's what you have to do. You have to figure out what's important to the other person, and then you do it. At what point did you know it's okay to jump in with both feet to full-time stream versus a normal, stable income you hate? I've got two answers for that. I'm still not a full-time streamer. I only stream 3 days a week, but that's also, I am a full-time content creator. So let's just go with full-time content creator. I feel like, okay, I struggle with this one. Let me tell you why I struggle with this one. Because when my wife and I first jumped in full-time, we were young. We were in our, early to mid-20s. Like, we do not have many chances to do this. And we went full-time before we had a following. However, we had savings, so we could survive. We had savings long enough to last like 8 months. Okay, we did all the math. We knew we could last 8 months on our savings. And so we took that chance and we went full time. And we knew that at the end of the 8 months, if it didn't work, we'd have to go back and get jobs. This last time, trying to, the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel, I did not go full time until I started making money doing it. I had other jobs outside of it. It related to content creation because that's what I'm good at and I have a history in it. But I was making content for other people and getting paid to do it. And I was not going to go full time because we didn't have any savings at that point. So I wasn't going to go full time unless I actually was making money. And I generally discourage, everybody's different. And so if you're one of these people, I'm not judging you. But I discourage people from going, like when affiliates, like people who aren't making a ton of money are like, I'm going full time, we're going to make this happen. I think that's the wrong order. I think you go full time when it makes sense. You go full time when you make, and until then, you keep your job and you work and you go the extra mile because that's what it takes. You go the extra mile. You get your job done, especially if there are other people relying on you. If you have a wife, you have kids, do not quit your job to stream. You have to support. You have to be a functioning member of that family. Then when it starts to grow, you quit your job because you're making money doing this. You preach a lot about being a content creator on other platforms. What do you think the ratio of time spent on Twitch versus other platforms should be? CJ, I think it depends on your content. What I would recommend you doing is figuring out how much time is required to post consistently on other platforms. If you want to do YouTube, how much time does it take you to make at least one video a week? Let's start with one video a week. How much time does it take you to make one video a week? If you want to try Twitter or TikTok, how much time does it take you to make 3 short videos a week? What is the bare minimum you need to create on that platform? How much time does it take you? Whatever time you have left over stream. Hey, we're making, oh, hold on. Guys, this is Kitty. It's okay, take your time. All right, hell, here's a question for you. Are you a hashtag D? That was that bleep was an accident. I'm sorry. Okay, are you a hashtag deep streamer?
Like, do I get deep?
Are you hashtag deep enough?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because we're answering.
Are we going deep?
I'm a professor.
I go deep.
We're going pretty deep here. Yeah. What color is a mirror?
What are these? What color is a mirror?
Yeah.
Whatever color you're seeing in the reflection?
That's not true. It's green.
It's green.
A mirror is green. How to come up with good branding names? How do you come up with a good name for a stream?
I came up with my name because Kitty it just made sense because it was playful and kind of feminine. And then Cosmos, like I'm a big fan of Carl Sagan's Cosmos, the original PBS, and like Carl Sagan he's a big influence on my life. And I just thought the alliteration and it just kind of rolled trippingly from the tongue.
I think honestly, if you ever come up with a name, come up with a handful, and if there's one that like you just can't get out of your head, that's probably the one to go with.
Yeah.
Because if it's gonna get stuck in your head, it's gonna get stuck in other people's heads too.
Yeah, and I just thought like in terms of like theme too, right? Like if you can like make a theme with something like cats in space, right?
Yeah.
Like you could have fun with that theme in terms of graphics and.
Would you recommend positive or negative motivation? I think it's different for everybody. But like for me, my biggest motivation to like push it and get YouTube video done was that if I didn't start making money, I'd have to go take a job that I didn't want.
Yeah, that was a big part of it for me too.
That's negative motivation.
Yeah. I would say negative motivation, definitely. I'm pretty driven too, and I've always been like hyper competitive with myself. So like it's also hard for me to like. I'm trying to do a better job of enjoying like the small achievements too. You know, it's like once you use the negative to get to the positive, right? Like it's hard for me to be like, hey, I did it. Like because I immediately like want more and I want to like keep going because I don't know. I keep wanting
that
to
the momentum.
Yeah. I
think everybody's got a little bit of both.
Yeah.
My biggest positive momentum is honestly just like personal pride. Like I consider myself a doer. And it's like if I don't get this done, am I really that person that I think I am?
Yeah.
And so by working hard, I maintain my own personal self-image that I see of myself, and I can continue to be someone that I am proud of.
That's beautiful.
That's one of my biggest. Okay, there's my positive motivation. Now you get it. You got to know them both. You need them both. All right.
So much money.
Hashtag deep. Are you going to Mixer, Kitty?
No.
Even if she was, what do you think she's gonna say? Like, you think she's gonna announce it on a Twitch stream?
I literally like just got partnered. Like the idea I have multiple feelings. I think good for them, you know, like content creators are getting paid, and I think that's great. And I think competition is fantastic.
What's one thing you take away from streaming that makes you happy?
Purpose.
Wait, I want to go to the next question instead.
No?
What's your credit card info?
Is that the answer you were looking for?
Was that too deep?
No.
Did we go too deep?
No, I can go even deeper than that.
That's good. Wow. I just really like this last one. I want to end on this one. If you could name a star, what would you name it?
A star. Because you know how I'm into space. It would have to be my cat Duncan.
You name it Duncan?
Name it Duncan. I don't know. Like, you name it.
Hashtag deep.
I know that's not that deep, but like, I don't know. He's my baby.
You know what would be the worst thing in the world? Is if you named a star after your animal and then just the next day the star just exploded. Supernova.
We wouldn't know about it, luckily, right? Because like all the light that's coming to Earth is
what if it supernovaed like a year later and you're like, oh wow. Oh, that star's been dead for a very long time.
Yeah, no. But that's kind of, I guess it depends how you look at it. Because if you look at it glass half full, it's like it exploded and then like all the stuff that made that star is spreading out all over the galaxy.
Or it exploded, but you're like, even though it's been dead, we've still been enjoying its presence and its essence for years. Just like my animal.
And I could just be in denial because I'm like, hey, it still seems like it's there, and I don't, you know.
Yeah.
I still see the lights, so hey, I'm just gonna ignore the.
It's like my schizophrenia.
Push it down. I'm just gonna shove it. I'm just gonna push it down.
Repress this thing.
Yeah.
Into a white dwarf. Into a neutron star. Just repress it into a neutron star. Welcome back. All right, guys. I'm learning this. Kez the Hero, I'm glad you like the videos. How are you doing? Are you freaking kidding me?